Ladies and gentlemen, we have two very well-known songwriters with us tonight, Mr. Burt Klamarr and Mr. Harry Ruby.
A light-hearted biopic of Klamarr and Ruby, one of the most underrated songwriting teams in the history of Tin Pan Alley, Three Little Words is an oft-overlooked gem in the pantheon of movie musicals. A glorious combination of music and dance that tells the story of two legendary showbiz careers, Burt Klamarr, played to a T by dancer extraordinaire Fred Astaire, and Harry Ruby, recreated by beloved comedian Red Skelton. And while you may not recognize the names Klamarr and Ruby, their music and lyrics will surely resonate through your heart. Songs like Who's Sorry Now and Nevertheless have become enduring classics. In truth, Klamarr and Ruby's real-life relationship was so lacking in conflict that MGM screenwriters had to add a little spice to the story. The result was musical magic, to the tune of over $2 million in box office receipts. Yes, they were definitely a team to be reckoned with. When principal photography began on Three Little Words in December 1949, Burt Klamarr had already passed away. In fact, he died unexpectedly in 1947, only 2 days after both he and Ruby had signed an MGM contract allowing the studio to produce a portrayal of their lives on film. So it was Ruby, and Ruby alone, who dictated the story of their collaboration, which became the basis for the screenplay.
It was true to life. It was not totally 100% the way it was, but for the most part, the songwriting part of it certainly was. I think the teaming and the way they worked together was very, very legit.
They were classic Tin Pan Alley songwriters. Klamarr began in vaudeville as a performer. He was a dancer.
Where did you get that girl, oh, you lucky devil? Where did you get that girl? Tell me on the level.
He married one of his dance partners.
Burt Klamarr was a magician. He started out as a magician. As a kid, he was a magician. And he had this incredible ability with words. And they met through the business. And so many great songs came from their collaborations. They wrote, before they actually teamed up, they were both successful songwriters in their own rights. Harry Ruby was a song plugger.
Some Arabian song one of our pluggers wrote. Plays it all day long, drives me nuts. Get me Harry Ruby.
In the early days of Tin Pan Alley, song plugging was the key to getting major exposure for what might be the next hit tune.
Song pluggers were people who would bring a vaudeville or Broadway performer into a little room, and they would sit there and plug away, trying to make each one of these songs sound like a showstopper.
For the film, some aspects of their personalities were expanded upon to add some sparkle to the story.
Unlike many other songwriters who eventually got different biographies in Hollywood or from television, they led sane, normal lives. They had happy marriages. Their lives went beyond their songwriting. It is true that Harry Ruby adored baseball. In fact, in one of the baseball sequences, the real Harry Ruby has a bit part as one of the baseball players. It was such a passion of his.
Harry Ruby is throwing catch ball with the Red Skelton character, who's supposed to be Harry Ruby.
Hey, Ruby, take it easy, will you?
He's throwing it to Red Skelton. It's very cute. If you look at that scene, you'll see the real Harry Ruby.
And an interesting thing, Red Skelton bore a more than passing resemblance to the real Harry Ruby. So it was, in a way, perfect casting. If you look at Harry Ruby in photos from that period, you'll notice similar frame, similar facial structure. He was very much in the same appearance.
Other plot lines were simply fabricated for our entertainment.
Look, what's this? Play? My play. I finished it. Oh, swell, Burt.
Burt Klamarr never wrote a Broadway play. And Harry Ruby never stopped a play of Klamarr's from making it to Broadway. That was completely made up by the screenwriters at MGM. And it's a great excuse for that period where Klamarr and Ruby, because of their other professional interests, stopped writing together for a period of about 5 years. There was no rancor between them.
I can tell you what I think of you in 3 little words. You're a dope!
Even the story behind the title song was manufactured.
Well, first of all, the song Three Little Words did not sit around gestating between Klamarr and Ruby year after year after year. It's a song that they had written For a musical, the film that it was in is forgotten, but the song became an immediate standard in the Great American Songbook.
Three Little Words is a classic. Now, again, they took a bit of liberty here because, after all, if only da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, that's fine.
La-da-da-da, beep-beep-a-deep. Oh, that's a nice title. What else can you say?
That's the opening 8 bars, but that's not a whole song. All of a sudden, they get the idea. I got the title. It's 3 little words.
You got it, Burt, the title of the song. What? 3 little words. You got it.
Sure enough, you see Red there in that inevitable moment of 3 little words. That's it! That's it, Burt!
The next thing you know, he's singing it with the band the next day.
How'd you like to hear a brand new song?
This is impossible. This cannot happen because the whole song has to be constructed, and it was not constructed in the movie.
The performances of it that we get here in the film add a little drama to the process.
But of course, they fictionalized how it came about with the big party, and he's singing it, and everybody's happy, and they cut a cake. It doesn't happen in life like that. But that's the movies. That's the wonderful magic of it.
8 little letters which simply mean I love you.
But one aspect of the film that needed no doctoring whatsoever was the music itself. It spoke volumes.
Klamarr and Ruby, at their best, had an elegance to their songwriting. Maybe I'm right, and maybe I'm wrong, but nevertheless, I'm in love with you. What a beautiful statement. At its best, American songwriting takes the vernacular, everyday language, and sets it to music. This is a beautiful example of exactly that.
Fred Astaire was eager to play the part of Burt Klamarr, whom he had known in his vaudeville days, for it gave him a chance to play a successful songwriter, a dream that for him never came true in real life.
His performance here as Klamarr is wonderful. He gets a chance to show what a natural actor he was. When Fred Astaire is performing, whether it's dialogue, music, or dance, you never get the sense that you are looking at something stiff, at something planned. You're looking at something which seems absolutely spontaneous.
There's a thing called effortlessness, and I think Fred Astaire epitomizes what I call that effortless quality that he issued. He didn't actually do it effortlessly. He sweat bullets over it. He worked hard and weeks and months getting his routines worked out and refined to look effortlessly.
Joining Fred on the dance floor for the first time was Vera Ellen, an expert dancer who matched him in training and dedication.
Vera Ellen was beautiful. She was a technically proficient dancer. More than a few people have testified that Fred Astaire privately said that she was one of his absolute favorite dancing partners, and it's easy to see why.
Comedian Red Skelton was top billed opposite Astaire and gave one of his most sensitive and subdued performances as Harry Ruby.
And here, just for once, someone, it might have been Thorpe, it might have been Cummings, who knows, it might have been Louis B. Mayer, sat down with him and said, put all of the shtick away and just give us a performance. Now, they give him a chance at shtick. That whole routine backstage during the magic act is pure Red Skelton. It's a chance for him to do a bit of physical comedy, to do a little bit of the thing, but that's about all they give him. Otherwise, he sticks to the character.
Behind the scenes, Skelton kept the cast and crew in stitches with his funny business, especially director Richard Thorpe.
He would say, do all marvelous, funny stuff. And Dick Thorpe would be on the floor with laughter, just, you know, he would be hysterical. You could tell, because Red was very dirty, but very like a kid dirty, and everybody is laughing at stuff. Well, Skelton was like that. He would clown and do marvelous stuff. He said, can I try that? And when Richard Thorpe could finally catch his breath, he'd say, I don't think so. No, we won't try that, Red. And then he held him down. And I think it was the greatest performance he ever gave on screen.
Oh!
Glamorous Arlene Dahl brought a touch of class to the project.
I think 3 Little Words was my breakthrough film at MGM. I played a musical comedy actress in the film, Eileen Percy, the wife of Harry Ruby, which was played by Red Skelton. And of course, the most marvelous gentleman of all time, so talented, Fred Astaire, and Vera Ellen, who Vera and I became very close friends on that. It was a wonderful family.
And she did a remarkably sweet, lovely, warm performance. She sang for herself, and she did a beautiful job on her song.
Coming down the stairway with these marvelous-looking top hat and tail men singing I Love You So Much. Hermes Pan was a choreographer, and he invented a camera angle that up until that time hadn't been used. He put the camera on a long dolly and carried me all the way down the stairs. Now, if you can imagine walking down about 40 steps, singing and to the men, and thinking, I hope I don't fall, I hope I don't fall, and trying to remember the lyrics and knowing that the close-up is right there. We had about 2 weeks to rehearse it, and Fred was wonderful. Fred Astaire came on the set almost every day to see what I was doing, and he gave me a tip here and there, and he was so kind and gentle.
Through one special number in particular, audiences got a chance to meet a future superstar who was making her MGM debut.
I Want to Be Loved by You is one of the first times that we get to see the charm of Debbie Reynolds. Even though we're not hearing the charm of Debbie Reynolds, we're actually hearing Helen Kane. The incident that's depicted there really never happened. Klamarr and Ruby did not just happen to be walking by as moving men had a piano in the street, and a little girl who happened to be Helen Kane didn't just happen to be standing there. But it is true that Helen Kane performed that song on Broadway in one of Klamarr and Ruby's hit shows.
And that was a brilliant move. And they did get Helen Kane to come and record the vocal. Debbie did a fabulous job mouthing it and performing it. Very soon after that, she became a major star.
The number became so popular that Debbie and her towering co-star Carlton Carpenter took it on the road.
They liked the way Debbie and I looked together. We went out and did vaudeville together, after that, which I just loved. We played the Capitol here in New York and all around the old Oriental in Chicago, which I think has been done, and Washington, D.C., where we first started. It was a real vaudeville act.
They even got a chance to meet the real team of Kane and Healy that they portrayed in the picture.
I think we had lunch or dinner, can't remember, at Child's on Broadway and 48th Street. It was so funny to have played somebody in a movie and then get a chance to meet them. Of course, they were both retired then. But that was great fun.
Who's sorry now? Who's sorry now?
Through a creative bit of casting, the familiar ballad, Who's Sorry Now, received a very personal treatment.
Gloria DeHaven's mother was a superstar back in the 20s. And Gloria DeHaven was a remarkably talented, young, beautiful woman. And they said she'd be perfect to play her mother.
Only actress to ever portray her own mother on the screen, plus sing the song that my mother had introduced, Who's Sorry Now? This is a treasure for me. This was taken on the set, and when I sang Who's Sorry Now, which, as I said, the song my mom introduced, she was there. And I'm in the costume in this picture, and Mommy was right there and got to be a part of it. So this is a very important picture.
That you're sorry now.
With its stellar cast and clutch of can't-miss tunes, Three Little Words became a sleeper hit for MGM in 1950. The film, remarkably shot in only 30 shooting days, came in on time and under budget and practically doubled its money in returns. But the success was due in no small part to Klamarr and Ruby, whose entertaining life story and beguiling music and lyrics give the entire film a surprising lift.
I think that the storyline was so good, and it was so close to the personalities of the two characters, with the liberties that you have to take to make a movie. And of course, the songs are delightful. They are what they are. They're wonderful pop songs that were written by a wonderful pop songwriting team. Well, to sum up Three Little Words in 3 little words, I loved it.